All right, guys,
Yeah,
let's talk about the pink elephant in the room, GH15. So, Bob, what's your story with GH15? Because I've been arguing with the current GH15, who's not even the 3-year-old GH15, and this guy is sending me long emails. I tell him, dude, I'm not reading your goddamn emails. You tell me your story first.
I mean, the original one.
Oh, by the way, we done something about the original one also recently, Nick and I.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we talked to. Oh, yeah, this could have broken like 2012's internet. We talked to Chad Nichols, and we asked him directly, did Nasser ever mention, do you know if Nasser was GH15? And he said, Nasser said he was feeding a couple of guys information, and they were posting it on Get Big as GH15. So finally, we know there's some connection.
Yeah.
Because Nick and I talked about a while back that one of my close friends who was like an administrator, not an administrator, but a moderator or whatnot,
Jason Blaha,
who originally came over to the GH15 board when we all left to Get Big. You know, he had emails from him saying, you know, yeah, it was Nasser. You know, this guy, it's not even the same way he talks or even acts. You know, this guy's just an asshole. That's what it is. It's not. You know, there's never any more information that's brought forward. You know, he just feeds off of everyone else's information. Someone will make a post and be like, "Oh yeah, see, that's how you do it," and it's like he's never provided a cycle. You know, he doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, and I knew people that personally that were on his board as labs.
Like sponsors, you mean?
Yep. Yeah, and they were always like basically like forced to send him stuff, and they were forced to donate to boards, and the fees to pay there were just like insane. You know, like the last guy I know that he had reached out to me because he knew I had, you know, been around that scene for a little while, was like a Juice Pal, because GH15 had said, all right, you're making too much money and the other guys aren't getting anything. Because Juice Pal is, you know, kind of like I was. He's legit and it's going to put out a quality product and it sells itself from there. He did that. And then all the other sponsors started complaining because no one else is going to them. So he said, okay, well, now you have to pay like $10,000 a month. So he's like, all right, look,
what's the normal rate on there? A couple thousand?
I think it was $1,200 a month. Plus you had to send free stuff, and it ended up being a lot. Like I would never go on there. That's ridiculous.
Not anymore. Now he's actually asking for a percentage of revenue.
Is he really?
That's because he's in hiding.
Yeah, confirmed by a lab listed recently on GH15 that spoke to me directly in the last 3 days. Yeah. He was asking, this current GH15 was asking percentage of revenue from the website. Sorry, I interrupted you.
That's insane.
Because the last information I had is when, what's the lab's name? Strango got busted, because that's how my buddy was kind of forced out, because he was somehow in business or whatnot with Strango. And when Strango got busted, he just went MIA for like a couple months. And then everyone on the board didn't know what to do and this and that. And then one day he just appears and he's like, oh, you guys are assholes talking about me, this and that. You know, I was just taking a step away from the board. And everyone's like, no, like you're hiding because you were involved with Strango. He 100% was. And I'd be curious to see what Strango says. What's his name, David or something? He's still locked up. I'd be curious to see if he says anything about it. If anyone can get in touch with him, he's still in federal prison.
So who do you think is running GH15 now? Like, how is that possible? This thing is passed around all over the place. It's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Juice Pal had sent me some stuff of people he had to send money to in Serbia. So we knew he was in Serbia at the time, hiding out. And probably still is. That's probably why he's wanting payments and whatnot. And anyone that goes to GH15 or I'd say just go to another board. There's so many other boards. You can make so much more money than not having to go through all that ridiculous ass shit.
You think it's smart for research companies to go on those?
I mean, maybe if you don't have any clients, but you can just go to Pro Muscle. It's $1,000 a month.
Yeah, but you think it makes
have
any sense to advertise on those things? I always thought about it.
on GH15.
On any of them.
Pro
You think there's a market there still? Like, I feel like it's
For research.
Like, let's say if I wanted to put a SARM company on there, if they would let me, do you think it's worth it or no?
No. For you, I mean, everyone already knows who you are, so maybe if someone didn't have a following or whatnot and they're just trying to get their name out there, maybe. But does anyone go on GH15 anymore?
I don't know.
No, it's dead. No, it's dead. He's made several posts about me and nobody that it's dead. The forum's dead.
Like, I mean, when I was there, when all of us went over from Get Big, I mean, it was like the forum, like the best. It's still the best forum there ever was, in the beginning. And then, because you had all these people, like, it was knowledgeable. I mean, even Nick was on there and he didn't even know it.
Yeah, I had fuck, Leo, did I ever tell you that story?
No.
I had an impersonator for like 7 years. I almost got killed over it.
How? Wait, what's the story?
I don't. Should I tell the whole thing? It's on a short. I could tell you the short version. I'll tell the long version one other time. But so long story short.
That is mad funny.
Oh my god.
No. I had to.
So basically, there was like a 7-year period in my life, probably actually even longer. I had an impersonator on the boards, and it was my real picture. I think it was my name. I forgot what he used for an avatar name, and I would get sent. This is when MySpace was popular, mind you. Like, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have all this shit. So I would just get a glimpse of it from like either someone emailed it to me like, hey, bro, someone's on the forum saying they're you and they're doing this and that. I would just ignore it. This went on for years until I think I turned pro. I think that was the year it happened. I think it was the year I turned pro or maybe the year after. I got this phone call from this random person. He's like, I got to talk to you. And I go, who the fuck are you? He's like, I need to talk to you. You owe me a lot of money. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm like, I thought somebody was fucking with me. So I called this number on the phone with this guy for a half hour. He's telling me about all the things I owe him money for, how he sent me this, he sent me that. I never paid him for this. And I let him talk. I just wanted to hear him talk. He was livid, mind you. He was pissed. So I said to him, I said, why do you think that's me? He's like, well, who else would it be? I said, have you proved that that's me on that profile? I was like, my profile is called Nicholas Trigg. Like, it's not whatever the other person is you're talking to. He's like, prove it. So I logged into my thing. I showed him my profile. I was like, ask that person for an ID. I was like, I'll send you my ID right now. I'll send you a picture of myself, whatever you want. I'm like, prove to me that the ID is mine. He's like, I actually have their IP address. He goes, show me your IP address. I said, no problem. I'll show you my IP address. Showed him my IP to my phone, my computer, everything at the time. He's like, damn. He's like, so who is this person? I said, I have no idea. So we actually traced the IP. I hired someone. I traced the IP. The kid ended up living 15 minutes from me in Franklin Lakes, which is like 15 minutes from my house right now. And we found out who it is. It was like this fat little like Israeli kid. And he was probably 22, 23. So since he was like a teenager, he was trolling the entire internet with this profile. But he kept it so good, though. He was posting everything as I posted it, like each day. I went back and saw his post. Like, he was on top of it as if like I was really doing it. Like everything I would post, he would reiterate on there.
Maybe it was like kind of like.
Oh, 100%.
Back then, because we didn't have social media, so there's no way to like talk with Nick.
It was MySpace
so,
and stuff. Yeah.
Nick for a couple of years was like, he'd be going for his pro card, then he'd like fuck up his arm or this or that. So, everyone's just like, oh, here comes Nick again, right? So here he comes. So everyone's like, that's when bodybuilding was still like, I don't know, bodybuilding. Yeah. But everyone's like, oh, here comes Nick. So we'd post like a picture. I don't know where we would get it from, wherever Nick either sent it or whatnot. But my favorite one was he put the cycle on GH15 once. And it was nationals before you were going pro. and it was 7 meals of all McDonald's, and it was like 32 units of like Humatrope and insulin, and GH15 was like, yeah, see, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. It was like 2 quarter pounders, like 2 chicken
I think the poster's still up. I'll find them for you.
And I remember being like, this is what they're fucking doing? I'm like, there's no fucking way. I'm like, and I'll never forget that GH15. Yeah, that's how you fucking do it. And so I'm sure there were people going, getting Humalog, taking fucking McDonald's and fucking Humatrope or whatnot.
That was nuts, though.
I'll never forget that.
That story was nuts, though.
It was an outlaw muscle, too. Everyone was sending him free shit because they thought it was
so Leo, so he was getting thousands upon thousands of gear every month from all these sponsors because they thought they were sponsoring like this bodybuilder.
Did he lift weights? You said he was a fat guy.
No, he was a fat little. He did not lift. He probably was selling it 100%. Because he's from Franklin Lakes, which is a fucking rich as hell town in New Jersey. If you look it up, it's where all the housewives live. So this kid was literally in his mansion trolling people.
Worst part was he was a Marine.
Yeah, he was actually a Marine. Yeah, he was a Marine. Yeah.
Marine.
Terrible.
What a creepy person.
Bro, it was a creepy thing. It was very creepy.
It was weird.
Like he had photos of it that I never even posted. And I'm like, how did he get these? Like at the time, I didn't have anything out there. There was no social media. It was either on a forum I post something or on my MySpace.
So the important thing for the audience to realize that the ones that weren't or they're younger than us, everybody who knew anything about steroids online was on GH15 at some point in the beginning. When we first started, they were invited when it was private only. I was one of those people. A lot of people were invited. I didn't post much. But I read all of GH15's posts on Get Big, every single post. And I read every single post for the first year or so on GH15.org. And I'm not an idiot. And I pay attention to writing styles. And I know what you can fake intentionally and what you can't fake. And I can see changes and I can see when he contradicts himself. And what I noticed was there's a lot more contradictions happened about like 6 months before he left Get Big, and then like 6 months after he started GH15, or no, when it went public. When it went public, GH15. I think the guys changed a few times. I think number one, there was not one guy originally.
No.
It was originally like a couple of guys. And they had some things that they were saying which were never said before, like Trenbolone. Like if you use a lot of Trenbolone, or if you take a GH to 10 units, or sometimes you'll look better for the short term, right? So there were some things useful. And they were claiming to tell the truth. So everybody was like, oh shit, this is the truth. And he would post on Get Big things like, I just shot 6 cc's of I don't know what. I'm an addict. I love it. And people would go crazy. So this environment developed on the internet, which many people don't know about the younger generation now. With before Rich Piana, where many of us were reading this and we're getting excited. And I wasn't shooting 6 cc's, but there were people, I'm sure, doing that.
I was shooting 9.
Yeah. That's how you got the scar tissue. So the point is, no, but no, I was shooting 6, but I don't want places is what I meant. Anyway, so he changed the internet actually, and he changed bodybuilding. And I think that he was the single worst influence on the public on the public's health in bodybuilding. Because what happened was people who weren't supposed to think about this stuff started thinking about people that didn't have any genetics, that couldn't do anything. They thought, if I keep raising the dose, it's going to happen. Yeah. And people start dying. In the 20s, Z's died, Derek Anthony died, random people. Everybody died right after. Oh, man,
Z's, holy shit.
Remember Z's? That was G's. He was on trend all the time, partying. He thought, I'm on all trend. I'm taking 100 milligrams a day. GH15 used to take up to 300. The real pros take 300 milligrams a day.
Fuck, man. I forgot about that kid. That was fucked up. Ziz. That's what they call him. Yes. Ziz.
Yep,
Ziz.
Ziz.
Whatever.
Yep.
Oh my god. He was like the
aesthetic god or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, aesthetic god. He was like skinny with no muscle, but
yeah. Like to me, that's like a tren and cleanse diet with no carbs. He was just shredded with
that was
no
like
muscle.
I was born with.
Yeah.
But what he was doing basically was, for him, he was like a little nerdy kid in school, didn't get much attention.
Yeah.
But I think on GH15 specifically, his stuff, saw the trend stuff, Because if you see him, he's all shoulders. He's just shoulders and that stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So he was just taking a lot of tren and going partying, doing cocaine. Doesn't know that tren is an adrenergic agonist. You're getting a lot of adrenaline. He may be on Clen also, doesn't know what he's doing. And he may have a little bit of a weak heart, and he took coke and he died. And then a bunch of other people started. Now, I'm not personally blaming GH15 for this. I mean, everyone has their own, responsibility. If I go and shoot heroin tonight and I die, it's my fault. It's not because I saw a heroin addict on the street doing it. But this wasn't done because they were trying to tell the truth. This was done to make money. GH15 was done eventually to make money. By the time it started the board, it was purely to make money. It was to have the sponsors and to make money. So I don't know if Nasser died and then his friends in Serbia continued with his stuff to make money on their own in 2011. I don't know what the dates were exactly, but basically they turned into a business. And right now the guy on the forum, just to update you, Bob, on what happened, Chad Nichols said basically that Nasser, all this stuff. And apparently this guy who's heading the forum right now saw it, made a bunch of posts about me, calling me a kid, and I don't know what.
So hold on. So real quick, what originally happened? He sent you an email after our show, and
what happened was a guy on Instagram sent me a copy paste from his message to me. He made a thread about me on GH15. I don't go
because of the podcast.
Yeah, saying that we're liars, and specifically what he would do is this. From the first post, he said, "We are liars. We do not know the truth." He has agreed to either come on my channel or Palumbo's channel, one or the other, for a pay-per-view, $1 per person.
Oh my God.
I swear to God, I'm not making this up.
What?
I'm not making this up, man.
$1?
I swear to God. So,
he doesn't even ask for 10. He asks for $1.
$1 per person. I'm not done. It gets worse, bro. It gets worse. So that's the first post, and he says $1 per person, pay-per-view, but this dollar has to go to the dog shelter. So I was like, wait.
All right, I'll put up 1,000 right now.
He has houses for the dog shelters. Everybody knows about that. He's always saying donate to dog shelters. He's always stealing the money. Everybody knows about this.
I know.
Inside, everybody on the internet knows about this. He thought I didn't read his post. He thought I haven't been since 2008. He thought I'm a skinny guy that was never into any of this guy. I know everything about this fucking idiot. So, sorry, I shouldn't swear. This is going to get... Anyway, so this guy... So what happened was this. At the end, he says, if anyone can get in touch with Leo, get in touch with him and get back to me. So
oh my God.
I didn't.
So what, he's going to show his face for $1 per person.
That's what I just said.
And he's going to tell the whole.
I'll pay the $1,000 right now. I got it in the other room, and you can come on and explain why all this money's missing and why you ban people. That's fine. You're gonna get paid after the fact, though. I'm not sending it. Not that dumb.
Exactly. So that's what happened. So his first post was this. So I didn't respond to it. Then I received apparently made another post about me. So then this time the guy was like, he was an Arab guy, the guy that sent me the message from GH15. And he said, here's his email if you want. So I emailed him. I said literally one line. What do you want? And he responded back. I swear to God, it's a page. The original GH15 would never write this. This is like a freaking essay.
Just rambling.
Rambling. I don't know. It's like you're a kid. You don't know. To know the truth. I couldn't read the whole thing. Once I saw kid, I said fuck. So I skipped down. I replied back. I said, hey, I didn't read your email. Write a shorter email. He sent back another email. Again, long. I said, I'm not going to read long emails. And I saw another insult with this kid thing. I told him to insult again. The offer's off. So he replies again. I told him, listen, by the way, all this time I was in contact with Dave Palumbo. I called Dave, or messaged Dave. I told Dave, listen, this guy isn't really GH15, but he's the guy pretending to be. And GH15 harmed a lot of us, including myself, a little bit, because they lied. I'll give examples later. So they harmed all of us. So let's bring him on so we can show that he isn't the guy. Well, I'll ask questions. I've read all his posts. I know everything, and I know he doesn't know his old posts. This isn't the same guy. And he didn't read them. He's so lazy. So Palumbo was like, okay, but this pay-per-view thing, obviously, no. I said, of course not. He's not going to give it a dog shelter. So we'll refuse that, but he has to accept. The guy refused. He said, if there's no pay-per-view, I'm not coming. So
all right, I'll pay it. That's fine.
Literally trying to make money from the interview and not show up, I guess.
Yeah. Well, he'll get paid when he shows up. I'll pay it, though.
Tell him I'll pay him.
No. Yeah. The point is, look, I used to read GH15 stuff. Look, the guy on the
what a weirdo, though. That's fucking weird, man. That's weird.
No,
that's why I can't believe anyone even goes to that board. It's like at this day and age, you got nothing to hide. Hence the guy wearing a mask and glasses right now. But mine's for a different reason. I will be unmasking myself eventually. I just can't.
That's so fucking funny what you just said.
I know. I can't for legal reasons.
You know what you look like? I just realized. I watched a show called Drugs Inc. all the time. Drugs.
Yeah. That's where I got the idea.
I was just literally watching it before we came on here. It was a good episode about Molly. It's like look just like that.
Yep.
But
they were all the funny masks too.
I will show myself eventually. I just can't legally right now due to contracts. Yeah. But
so you're saying there's no reason for anyone to go there. I know that for sure. And by the way, anyone listening to this, forget about that website. That's a scammer. Even the sources there have left. They've contacted me. They told me he's taking percentage of the revenue. He's not the original guy. It's confirmed. We have many confirmations. Tyan Clark has been on my channel. He used to be a moderator at GH15. He said that he's almost completely sure the guy's selling or something. He's not the original guy. I've read all the posts. There were two contradictory, man. He goes to gh15.org, and within a year, he starts saying that insulin is not good. He didn't use insulin. He didn't like insulin. And then, like 6 months later, he says you should drink pineapple juice and take insulin all day. Like that's pineapple juice, insulin. Which actually, by the way, would work. It'll make you'd blow up because that's sugar and insulin.
All day,
You'd get fat. You'd get huge. It's true, but
I used to do it.
Yeah, that's true. And pineapple juice is a very high in fructose, probably not the best one. You want something with glucose.
Glucose.
Also. So, but the problem is this: he was doing this 300 milligram trend thing, and basically, I think that's what changed, like the fringe element of bodybuilding, like the element that's not the pros, but the people that are on YouTube and stuff like that, where people started taking higher and higher doses, and now you're about people, suffering and people have died and so on.
Well, I agree because he was supposedly the truth behind bodybuilding. That's why everyone GH15, hence the magic dose was 15 units. That's where you had everyone coming in being like, even we'll say Boston Lloyd, for example. He said, no, he's taken more gear than anyone. And he said, no, it's not going to happen. So I do agree to some sense that he came in because everyone's like, oh man, it's, some pro bodybuilder. And, the select few of us are like, oh, it was Nasser. And that's why I left years and years ago, probably like 2013, because I was like, this is ridiculous. Because it started banning all the decent people that had any knowledge, and then a bunch of us left and went to another forum that was private, that one of the other guys from there created, because it was just, we just wanted some place to go and bullshit. And but now everything, you have social media, so I think the forums are kind of
it's over. But it's important for us to know, for us who went through it, who were on the board. I like you. I left on 2012 or 13. I don't know what, early, but everyone can see the GH15 Bible online. That's the selected post from the original fake Nasser, who Nasser was talking to, with again BS, sort of contradictory, slightly information. He would always say equipoise makes your shoulders round. Trenbolone, the higher the better. Testosterone, sometimes he would say double the dose of trenbolone. Sometimes he would say equal. Sometimes he would say lower. He would contradict himself even on Get Big. It was never straightforward. It was always this kind of scammy kind of. And to be honest, now that I know now that Chad told us about Nasser's bodybuilding.com articles that were not released, that were intended to cause drama, I started thinking maybe he was actually just jaded and bitter and wanted to mess with people. And that's why he did it.
I believe it. I believe that 100%.
I'll tell you why. Last night I was talking to a guy in San Diego late at night who was a good friend of Art Atwood. That's why I posted those pictures of Art Atwood.
Oh, okay.
He was also the guy that saw Nasser punch a guy in the face for being a pedophile in the gym. And he told me, so he told me, because remember I asked Chad, was his blood okay? Did he know he was unhealthy at the end? And Chad said he didn't think so. But I asked this guy who was seeing him toward the end, and he said Nasser's face was like blue. It was changing color, and there's he didn't know. The blood was not pumping.
Oh.
And I've seen people like that because I used to be in arm wrestling. On the day of competition, people take a lot of Anadrol, and your heart won't work properly. You turn blue.
Oh, what
and we know a guy that has a podcast. His face keeps changing color. Now he keeps turning it brighter and brighter till you can't see his skin color anymore. Nick, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
So
yeah.
The skin color change could be a sign of the heart.
I never knew it turned blue.
No, like you'll turn like your face will not.
The blood. Yeah, the blood. Yeah.
So he said probably Nasser knew, and he did go back to die.